Like we've DJ'd in Massachusetts and stuff, and now you're in Florida, and I'm not an active DJ anymore. How do you feel the scene? Like, is the scene different here in Florida versus Boston as far as like the house scene, or do you find yourself playing more like different music other than house, or how is the scene here?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say the Florida scene, there's more opportunity to DJ or do something entertainment wise.
More venues.
But there's hotel lobbies that have DJs. There's clothing stores that have DJs, and Boston had that for a little bit. But the unfortunate thing about Boston is that you only have so much time for nightlife. You have 4 hours.
4 hours.
And no one's going at 10 o'clock.
Nope.
So the people who actively go out and who are in the industry and or nightlife, you don't show up until 12:30. Now you only have an hour and a half.
Yep. And last call's at 1:30.
Right.
I mean, unless you know the people, sometimes you can get one and after, but generally.
Right. And if you're lucky, you'll find an after party. But I mean, just regular nightlife in Boston, it's been the same format, that 4 hours. So, and you can't do happy hour. I don't even think you can call it happy hour.
Nope.
But there's
a lot of restrictions there.
In regards to Florida, though, there's just a lot more opportunity. And as far as the music, there's so many different cultures down here. And you could pertain this. You could literally do whatever you want musically. Like I said, going back to when I first came here, I fell in love with real house music, the tribal, the Afro house, the deep house. When that shit was like first coming out and it was pure, and that's why I fell in love with Florida, because of that music, and it's still going on. And thankfully, a lot of the venues I played, the format that they want is what I love. So it's just there's so much opportunity down here, and even if there's not a party going on somewhere, they're open. Businesses and establishments are open to hearing your idea if it's going to generate money and bring people in, and most importantly, create a good vibe for everybody. You could do that down here easier than Boston.
Right. I think I would agree to you, even though I haven't been active here. I just visually seeing all the areas that offer DJs or some kind of party environment, or even restaurants that have DJs that play like deep house, kind of set the mood, set the tone kind of thing. You said providing opportunity, and on this podcast, we call it the Boss Podcast because we talk to anybody making money outside of a 9-to-5, right? You make a living DJing, producing. We'll get into the thrifting in a little bit, but with DJing, I can remember in Boston, man, I just remember back in the day getting nickel and dimed all the time. Like, as far as like, hey, we'll book you for, fucking $200. Now listen, this isn't 2024 money, right? This isn't inflation money. This is like in like late 90s, early 2000s type money. You know what I mean? $200 will take you a long way. Not now, but back then, 200, whatever. But even 200 back then was honestly shit pay if we really think about it. Because they required you a lot of times to bring in a guest list, right? DJs had to bring a guest list, bring a crowd,
still
right?
Do.
So that was gonna be my question. Are they still doing that shit? Still do. Hey, we'll book you for short money, or like what are you making like with DJing here in Florida compared to like Boston?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say this: the reason why we keep bringing up Boston is because we're both from there, so we could relate to that more than any other place.
But I will say,
I'm sure it happens everywhere.
I thought you were going to show up in a Yankees hat, man. We get a Boston-based guy. He's a Yankees guy, though. He's a Yankees guy.
I didn't want to. That would have been funny because you're wearing the Red Sox hat.
That's why I wore the Red Sox hat.
Listen, this is Boston themed. It feels good to be next to a fellow Bostonian. So I'm repping Bruins, and they're in the playoffs now.
Yes, sir.
So, but as far as the money goes, I could see if. For the local DJ side, it's still $250 to $500 is the standard. Now, if you have a following, if you're established, and the big thing back in the day was you didn't have to produce. I mean, there were producer DJs, but now you have to produce your own music. You consistently have to create and release your own content, be it a video, be it a track. It needs to be yours. The content needs to be there. But as far as the pay, if you're doing that, you have the leverage to ask for more money. And, I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at right now. But as far as the local scene, that shit's still going on. That $250, $300, it's bullshit. you know, for it, or that opportunity, like, yeah, we'll pay you in exposure.
Right.
You know, you see the memes. Yeah,
We'll put you on the flyer and all
That
this other shit.
That shit
Yeah.
still goes on, man.
Oh
It's
my God.
crazy.
I can remember being like in an area where I'm like, all right, like the dream gig would be, okay, we're going to pay you X amount of money, which is going to be lower than regular, but at the same time, we're going to give you a piece of the bar. So like, we're going to give you 20% of the bar.
A lot of DJs don't know that. A lot of DJs don't think they could ask for that.
They need to ask for that. They need to ask for that.
That's how you make the money.
You know Red Sky?
If you're
So
how could I forget?
So listen, so Red Sky was it's not Red Sky anymore.
Best buffalo chicken tenders ever, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree on that.
You know, I've had their buffalo chicken tenders. They are really good. They shut down now. There's no more Red Sky.
No, that's been gone for a long time.
And I remember, I'm not sure, I can't remember what nights you were doing alongside of that, but you would come into Red Sky. So
right.
Red Sky, Red Sky was the night that me and my buddy Sal, shout out Sal, I don't know where the fuck you are, but shout out Sal. We would run this night, and there was this little, it was a small, maybe 150 capacity, 100 person capacity.
You think?
Was it smaller than that? I would say 100, 120 was like jammed, though. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think 70 was jammed.
And they had the hotel upstairs that would always complain about us. We ran this night, and I was the resident DJ there, and me and Sal would promote it, and then Richard over here would come in, and he would DJ as well, making guest appearances. And like one time, you were DJing, and I hopped in and dropped the bomb, and you hopped back, and we were hopping on. It was just a wild night that we were attracting like some of the bigger promoters that were running some of the bigger nights. Like I know Ace came in there one time. I know Winter walked in there one time because these guys were like, well, how are these guys making this noise in this small spot? What is this? Like, I want to see what's going on. But that was like a place, that was like a dream gig almost. Unfortunately, it didn't have the capacity, but that was like one of those like 30% of the bar. We were getting 30% of the bar. Plus we were getting 50% of the admission. Right. Total admission.
Right. And it was a great vibe.
And it was a great vibe.
No. It was fun.
It was super fun.
So much fun.
It was so much fun.
Most importantly,
if DJs could get a gig like that at a 2,000 person venue, where you get 20% of the bar, even 10% of the bar, give me 10% of the bar, $500.
I think that's a standard. 10-15% would be the standard on top of the fee.
I think we got such a high rate because they weren't doing anything. Like they were doing nothing on the night, and we just came in and we just brought everybody from all the different clubs that we were going to.
That was on an off night too, wasn't that Thursday?
Thursday nights.
Yeah.
That was
on. The beginning of the weekend, technically, if you're in the industry, but
Thursday night.
And then you sparked that, and then all of a sudden, those, like you said, those bigger promoters would come in on a Friday and Saturday, and that shit popped off. But
so now what gigs?
Red Sky.
Dude, Red Sky was awesome. Yeah. It was just awesome. Shout out to Buffalo Chicken Tenders, bro.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. The Boss Podcast is sponsored by Amazon Lit. If you're looking to start an Amazon business, or you'd like information on how to start an Amazon business, or maybe you already have an Amazon business and you're looking for guidance, knowledge, or education, you definitely want to check out the guys over at Amazon Lit. I got a link in the description. You can check it out and go ask them whatever you like. There's no obligation, but you can at least ask them and get some knowledge and education. If you've always wanted to start a business, now's the time to do it. There's no better time than now. Amazon Lit, appreciate you guys. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast.